Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the LCD screen in the LG V10. So first of all, what you want to do is make sure your device is powered off, and go ahead and grab the phone and just start right down here in the charging port. You can just stick your thumb right in there and just pry up, and the back cover comes right off. To remove the battery, just put your thumbnail in this slot right here. You can just pick up and the battery comes out just like that. So if you have any SIM cards or memory cards, you want to remove them at this time as well. I'll include a link in the video description for any tools that I'm going to be using in this repair today, or any parts that I'm going to be replacing. Anything that I think might be helpful to you, I'll include links in the video description, so check them out there. Next, what we're going to want to do is use a Phillips screwdriver size 000. So if you do get a tool set, make sure that it has that size in it, 000. Then what we're going to do is remove all these screws all the way around the perimeter here. So there's actually 14 screws that you have to remove, and don't worry, they're all the same size, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. So next, what you want to do is remove this back part, and what I found that works pretty good is if you have something thin like a tweezers or something like this, and just carefully pry right in this little notch right here for this bottom part, and then you can use something, just carefully pull up on this. And then what I use is just like a plastic pry tool for this. For the prying part, I recommend something non-metallic. For the top here, if you go right in here and behind this little tab sticking up right here, you can get that pried up and started. And if you use like your plastic pry tool and get it started in this corner right here, you can just carefully pry up. Now be careful, the logic board is under here. You don't want to pry against that. You just want to kind of pick up is what you're doing. And then, so since this is coming loose, you can just kind of slide down this side. You can kind of slide down this side too. There's just little clips in here holding this. And then this back part comes right off. So next, what you want to do is you want to remove this connector right here. Just use like a plastic pry tool or something, or your fingernails if you don't have one. I would recommend not using metal on this. And then you can go ahead and remove the connector here for the headphone jack. And then we'll go up to the top here, remove this connector right here for the front facing camera. That lifts out easily, so you can just remove that. Otherwise I would just leave it. So next, to remove the logic board, the motherboard here, what you can do is just carefully start prying up here on this bottom part here. And you want to watch these different wires here that's holding it up. Then now that that's loose, what you can do is come over on this side right here. There's a clip right in here that we need to pry up on. And so what I found is if you just pry up here carefully on the top and slide down towards this clip is right in here particularly. And once that lets loose, then you should be able to just lift the whole board right out, just like that. So now I'm going to show you all the parts that we need to remove in order to swap over to the new screen. So what you want to remove is the headphone jack located down here. You want to remove the vibrator, which is located here. The proximity sensor, which is these two parts right here. The IR blaster, this little white part, you want to swap that over. We're going to want to swap the earpiece speaker over, which is located here. And if your front facing camera didn't fall out when you took the board out, you want to replace that, but that usually comes out with the board because it's kind of loose when you remove the board. So those are the things we're going to go ahead and remove. So let's start with the headphone jack down here. I'm just going to stick something in here and just gently pry up and wiggle a little bit. Then the headphone jack comes right out. Set that off to the side. Next, what we're going to do is the vibrator here. You can just stick something like this in underneath it. It has strong adhesive under it, and you just want to go in that slot there. You want to wiggle that, get that out of there. Next, what we're going to do is the earpiece speaker here. I use like a tweezers like this again, and just go carefully right up here by the pegs on this little contact piece here. Start with the pegs and work that loose. It just has adhesive under it again. And then what you can do is just wiggle under the earpiece speaker gently with something sharp like this, and just wiggle it a little. Same deal, just adhesive under it. You can pry that right out of there. Next, we're going to want to grab this little IR blaster here. Get that out of there. Next, we're going to want to slide something like this under this connector right here. It can come off kind of hard. There's strong adhesive under it. And we're going to go over and just pry up carefully on this part, on this proximity sensor here. Just carefully pry up and pull that out of there. So now that we removed all those parts, that's the only parts that I know of that we need to swap over. So next, what we're going to do is use a Phillips screwdriver size 000, same size as all the others were. And we're going to remove these 6 screws on this frame here. There's 3 on this side and 3 on this side. We're going to remove those. Keep them separate from the other screws. So on your LCD assembly, what you're going to want to do is get the LCD and frame included. It's so much easier. Otherwise, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to separate this whole glass part and everything. So it's so much easier to get the whole frame and everything included. It's usually not that much more expensive. I'll include a link in the video description where you can find the correct part for this. Sometimes even these side pieces here don't need to come off, but if yours do need to come off, and then And so this is how you take these sides apart. What you do is you slide this down. See it sliding down there? What you need to do is slide down kind of hard, and at the same time, when you're all the way down, you can just lift it out of there. So we're going to do that for that side, and we're going to do the same for this side. So there we have the whole thing torn down. So to change everything over to your new screen, my screen is okay, so I'm not going to change it out, but for this demonstration I'm going to be reusing this same screen. But so this would be your new screen. So if your frame already has the side pieces, you can skip ahead. If it doesn't have it, then what we're going to do is go ahead and put these side pieces back on. So there's a little trick to this. You have to kind of get it set in here and push it down kind of like you did to get it off, and then get it to, there's these little slots you got to slide it in, and then you can slide it up and get it into place. So these are the slots that you got to watch. There's 3 on each side, and they go into these pieces here. I'm going to flip this over since I'm right-handed and it's easier, and maybe we'll get a better look in reverse order here. So you want to start with these all the way down. A little tricky sometimes to get them all lined up. So now that they're all slid in, let's slide it up till the screw holes all line up. So now that we got that done, go ahead and put all your 6 screws back in those ones. Remember, it's not these bottom ones, it's these 3 up here. So now that these screws are back in the sides, we're going to just start with one thing at a time and start putting everything back in. So let's start with our proximity sensor here. We're just going to set those back in where they go. You want to line these pegs up and this peg up here, and you can just press down. Next, we're going to set our little gray IR blaster in there while we're at it. Next, we're going to set the earpiece speaker in here, right in where it goes. And then we have to line the pegs up on the holes on here and press those down. Next, we're going to grab the vibrator, set that right down in there, press it down. Next, we're going to grab the headphone jack, set that right down in there where it goes, and press it down. Next, we're going to grab the logic board, we're going to set it down, and we're going to get this part here started first. You got to watch the headphone jack and watch this wire, and we can just kind of set this down. So first, maybe so this stays, we'll reconnect this headphone jack right here. Then we'll reconnect this connector right here. So that you got those 2 in, let's turn this way and just push everything down there so it sits down nicely. Then we'll want to grab the front camera, set it down in there, reconnect that. So next, grab the back part, set it right down on here, and just start clipping it in everywhere. Just snaps in. Then go ahead and put your 14 screws in all the way around. So at this time, go ahead and install any SIM cards or memory cards that you want to install. Next, grab your battery, line the connectors up right here with these connectors right here. Just set it right down in there. Press down to reinstall your back cover. Just grab the back cover, set it right down on here. Just press down all the way around. Make sure it's snapped in all the way around top and bottom, and you're all set. Thanks for watching.